Please be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Garcia, Ames versus Patin.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Good day. Ms. Ames.
Yes, Your Honor.
You're torn between the two men standing in court today because the defendant, Mr. Patin, raised you your entire life believing he was your dad.
Yes, Your Honor.
But now Mr. Garcia is suing to prove he is your biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Garcia, you say you searched for your daughter for more than 25 years. And today, you say the DNA results will prove to Mr. Patin that Ms. Ames is your daughter.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Patin, you state that only a year ago, after raising your daughter and paying more than $40,000 in child support, you were informed that Mr. Garcia was claiming Ms. Ames is his daughter.
Yes, Your Honor.
Let me start with you, Mr. Garcia. Take me back to 1 year ago.
And a year ago, I was in Jersey visiting my family, and I was really looking for her on Facebook, wanting to find her so we can reconnect. Because I always called and always asked about her, and I was really looking for her heavy. We found each other on Facebook last year, and we met at my mother's house and reunited, and we started talking from there.
Ms. Ames, when you got this friend exchange,
Yes.
what did you feel?
Like I needed some resolution to it. Take you back. My mother died when I was 13 years old. Never told me that there was a possibility of another man being my father whatsoever. When I was 21 years old, another relative of mine decided to tell me, well, there's a possibility that your dad isn't your dad, that another man is your father. So the name that they gave me, I searched for years. I couldn't find him. Well, come to find out, they had gave me the wrong name. So when he friend requested, I looked at his picture and I felt the instant connection because I looked just like Mr. Garcia. I looked just like his family. And so I sent him a friend request. And when I did, he says, "Do you know who I am?" And I'm like, "I've heard that there's a possibility you're my dad." And he's like, "I want to meet you. I'm here. I'm in New Jersey." And so we met. I was 9 months pregnant.
What happened at that meeting?
There was an instant connection between the two of us, instantly. And we went out to my mother's graveyard because he didn't know anything of my mother passing because he was so far away. And he was supposed to go back to Florida. And he stayed an extra 2 weeks because he wanted to meet my daughter. I'm torn. Like, I have 2 kids, and I want my kids to know who their grandparents are. My mother's not around. Like, I don't want my kids growing up accidentally dating their family members because we don't know the truth.
That's a very real concern.
Yes. And like, my son will be 18 years old, and I don't want him to be dating one of his cousins and not know it. So I need some resolution.
And you feel like you're 100% certain you're her father.
Yes, I was there for her at birth. When she was born, I used to rock her to sleep in my knees. I stayed with her family. I stayed with her family, her grandmother. I stayed with them for like 10 years, working, and taking care of my responsibility, which was her.
And so you were there at her birth?
Yes.
And you've paid child support for her as well?
Yes.
You were responsible for child support for how many years?
18.
18 years you paid it?
Yes.
And you submitted to the court that you've paid your entire child support debt off.
Yes, I have the documentation.
It's paid in full?
Yes, I have it right here, Your Honor.
I'd like to see that. Mr. John Patin, State of New Jersey, paid. No open cases. More than $40,000.
Yes, Your Honor.
Jerome, we don't see this a lot.
Not at all.
I commend you for this, sir. So, Mr. Garcia, while Mr. Patin was paying child support and rocking her to sleep and in her life, you were believing you were her father this whole time? You thought you had a daughter somewhere out there?
Yes, Your Honor. From the time she was born, I had always believed she was my daughter.
And so, Ms. Ames, did you tell your father, the man you believe is your father your whole life, that's what you thought, Mr. Patin, did you tell him about the meeting when you met up with Mr. Garcia?
No. Me and my father, Mr. Patin, we've had a rocky relationship. We had our ups and downs. He was around, and then there's sometimes he wasn't. But I remember when I was younger, and we got into an argument, and he made a statement to me to go find my real dad. So that statement, well, maybe there's a reason why he said this to me.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. So when her mother was pregnant, take me back to this.
We had met at my prom. My sister had introduced us, and we started dating. She broke up with me not too long after she got pregnant. A month later, she told me she was pregnant, and she made me believe that Mr. Patin was the father instead of me. But I had always believed in my heart that I was the father.
When you said made you believe.
Because the timeline of when she told me she was pregnant was after we were together. But after Mrs. Ames was born, the timeline didn't add up.
She had given you a certain date or how many months she was or whatever.
Yes.
And then when Ms. Ames was actually born, in your mind, you said to yourself, what she told me didn't add up. This could be my baby.
That's correct.
Ms. Ames, although you said your relationship with Mr. Patin wasn't always that great, had some rocky moments, you grew up always believing he was your biological father. Is that correct?
Your Honor, because my mother never told me no different. He's the man on my birth certificate. He was at my wedding. He signed my marriage certificate because he was there. No matter how our relationship was, he was the man who was there.
So you never connected any dots in your mind and said, oh, well, I don't get along with this man. There's a disconnect. He may not be my father. You truly just believe this is my father. We bump heads sometimes, but when I need him, he's there.
That's what I believed.
And as you look at Mr. Patin, do you see yourself at all?
Just the light-skinnedness, that's it. He's tall. I'm not that tall, but my mom was short. So I'm like, I never really paid that much attention to it. Like just the freckle things. I used to ask that when I was a kid. Where did I get freckles from? My mom ain't got no freckles. My dad ain't got no freckles. How did I get freckles on my face? I was a little kid. I wanted to know how I got freckles and y'all don't got freckles.
So, Mr. Garcia, what was it after all these years? She's 30 years old now. What was this that prompted you to say, I'm going to send this friend request?
Your Honor, before social media, when I would call New Jersey and talk to my family, I always was trying to find her. So it's not just started. I always had that passion that she was my daughter. And I always wanted her to know that. And I always wanted to know that for sure myself, because I always believed it.
But on that day, you decided to make the move and reach out.
Because I was in New Jersey and I wanted to find her while I was there before I went back to Florida. So I wanted to make sure we made a connection. And I was on Facebook heavy, trying to make connection with her. The whole week I was in New Jersey with my sister.
And when you were with your sister, were you telling your family,
Yes.
I'm going to try to find my daughter right now?
Yes, Your Honor. I told them, and I told them when I made connection with her. You know, and my sister, which was who she was dating, who I met her mother through, was right there when I found her. You know?
Really?
Yes.
And your sister was the person that was with you when you met Ms. Ames' mother years ago?
Yes.
You mentioned earlier you dated her mom in high school.
Yes.
Did you know anything about Mr. Patin? Because he seems to have been in her life consistently, very present and visible.
Yes, he was there the whole time. He lived right down the street from her when we met.
Did you know he was dating her mother too?
No, she said they were broken up at that time. But he was always there, you know, trying to get her back and giving me a hard time all the time. So
Well, yes, I caught them walking down the street one time. I asked, "What's going on with you and Joey?" And she said nothing. We were just friends. Her mother told me, they were just friends. But I had, it was suspicious that, that they were dating or whatever. But
You felt a level of suspicion,
yes.
and you knew what he looked like.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know his family, his sisters, and
So when you think about the fact, Ms. Ames, that another man is here in court today suing to prove that he is in fact your biological father, how does that make you feel?
Your Honor, I'm torn between the two because I now have a relationship with Mr. Garcia as well. I've been around his family. When we went on vacation to Florida, he came and spent the entire week with me and my husband and my daughter. And I have a connection with him as well, even not knowing him for as long as I haven't known him. There was an instant connection between us.
So you see that he truly is making an effort.
Yes. And his ex told me that he had told her that he had a daughter in New Jersey and that my mom told him I wasn't his. But he always felt I was his daughter.
In this last year after meeting Mr. Garcia, who have you been calling dad? Is Mr. Patin still your dad, or do you believe
They're both my dad. But I'll work on building a relationship with Mr. Garcia because if he is my dad, we need that relationship. My kids need that relationship, but my kids will always know Mr. Patin as their grandpa as well. That's just the way it'll be, period.
You talk about Mr. Patin and your relationship, and sometimes it was rocky, and then with Mr. Garcia, you say you felt this instant connection. Is that feeling, that emotion, that connection you felt, is that what's driving you, or is it truly other factors and everything combined? Are you feeling pulled because of the emotion of it all?
I feel like I'm torn in between because deep down inside, I need to know. I need the answers. And I can't speculate on what my parents did 30 years ago because this is something they should have figured out 30 years ago. Yes. Period.
You are most certainly correct.
I can't say what they did and what they didn't do because I was a child. But I felt this is something that they should have handled then. There's no reason why. Somebody should have been telling me at 21 years old, well, your dad may not be your dad. I need to know for my children.
Yes. Mr. Patin, as you stand here, hearing the testimony that's been presented today, are you still 100% certain?
yes, Your Honor.
You are.
Yes.
Mr. Garcia, as you stood here today, hearing how this man has spent his life taking care of this young girl, child support paid, at her wedding, with her family, at her birth, on her birth certificate, are you still 100% certain?
yes, I am, because if I would have known, I would have been there.
Two men are in this courtroom today 100% convinced they are your biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
I think it's time for the results, Jerome. Yes. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. Do you want to watch Paternity Court on TV? Go to paternitycourt.tv to find your local listings. In the case of Garcia, Ames versus Patin, pertaining to whether Mr. Garcia or Mr. Patin is the biological father of Tanira Ames, it has been determined by this court. Her biological father is Mr. Garcia. Are you okay, Ms. Ames? You happy to finally know?
Yes.
I'm still her father, and I'm always going to be her father.
That's my thing. I don't want him to walk out of my life because of these results.
I don't think you have that to worry about at all. Would you like to go down and give your dads a hug? You got to. Go get her.
Oh, baby.
My dad. You always be my dad.
You can feel free to stand. Mr. Garcia, nicely done, sir. When I told her she could stay down there, she stood in between the both of you because she loves both of you. And when she stood in the center, you moved from your position and slid over to the center with her. And that body language and that movement says, I know why you're standing there and I will meet you halfway. And I love that. Mr. Patin, feel free to slide on in too, because you still have your daughter. Go stand next to her. She needs that. The truth is something else. Ultimately, Miss Ames, what a blessing you have to have two men that love, adore you. You are one blessed and lucky young lady. I wish you all the very best of luck. Court is adjourned.